Fast Track 1A runners. I hope that this message finds you in good spirits and that you have had a nice week. I welcome you all once again to another week here in our race. I'd like to start this week's module with a knock-knock joke. It's a funny one that I found. Check it out. Who's there? Control freak. Okay, now you can say control freak who? Do you guys know control freaks like that? A type A personality? I thought that was funny. When's the last time you heard a knock-knock joke? It's been a while since I've heard one. It was cool to find this one. So check it out. Here's what we have this week. We're at Module 5, and our Entertainment as Political Final Draft, that's going to be due by the 19th, which is going to be Monday, by 11:59 p.m. So the link for that will be in this week's module. Look at this. We're assigning the research paper, which is the last assignment already, just like that, and its respective outline. And alongside that, we're also going to have a librarian-led workshop. It's going to be a video that you're going to check out. And yep, that's it for the signpost for this week. Now let's go ahead and dive in. Here we go. Module 5. Okay, so here is the link for the Entertainment as Political Final Draft. Now we're going to go over our final paper, research paper particularities. So first thing I want you to do is download the prompt. And let's download it. It makes things much easier. Rather than just having a preview, I always like downloading documents. Okay, so now you're going to see why we've been looking at current event assignments. There's really a method behind my madness. Check out our final assignment. Propose a solution to an issue/problem. Throughout the span of time, humankind has had to continually seek out solutions to issues at hand. For example, the telephone was facilitated to Let me try again. Throughout the span of time, humankind has had to continually seek out solutions to issues at hand. For example, the telephone was invented to facilitate a streamlined method of communication across vast distances. The microwave was brought forth as a tool for quickly heating up meals, etc. Our species has always had to adapt to issues as they arise, from serious issues to lighter ones. We as a people have managed to move forward through ingenious invention and collaboration. This assignment is an opportunity for you to put your own foot forward by offering your own solution to an issue/problem. What makes this project research is the fact that you're required to draw from a minimum of 4 secondary sources to introduce your explored issue and support your proposed solution. So for example, if I was arguing for the importance of switching over to an electric car, I would draw from my secondary sources to frame the environmental harm caused by fossil fuels. I would use my research to explain how oil is the most consumed form of fossil fuel for energy conversion. I would then move to forward the fact that our planet has a limited fossil fuel reserve. Thanks to my front-loading the reader with the context behind my chosen issue, I would then draw from my research to support my argument for switching over to electric car. So notice how in this example, first I identified the issue. And here's the thing. Choose an issue that you truly care about. So let's pretend you really cared about the environment and global warming. Okay, the trick to this assignment is to choose a segment of the issue to focus on. So if ultimately the larger issue is global warming, okay, what segment might I focus on? Well, in the case of this example, let's say I focused on the segment of fossil fuel vehicles, so cars that burn gas, right? And thus contribute to global warming. So what if I'm going to focus on that segment, okay, fossil fuel vehicles? And to counter that, I will be proposing that you switch over to electric vehicles instead, that more people switch over to electric vehicles and ditch that fossil fuel car. See how I started? First of all, I'm like, okay, what do I really care about? Choose something that you care about and choose a segment. It's kind of like an inverted pyramid. Like you think of the issue that you're interested in and then narrow your focus to a particular segment that is directly related to the link and focus on that. So because it has those two parts, issue and solution, check out these guiding questions of things to consider. First of all, what's the issue or problem that you're moving to solve? Why is it an issue? Who does it affect? What's the big deal? So what? Those are its implications, right? What is at stake? And now the solution. So what are you proposing to directly counter that to help with the harmful effects of that issue, right? What is your proposed solution? Why will your solution work? Why is your solution better than others? What might those opposing your solution say against it? How would you defend your solution? What are the costs of your solution? So instantly when we think of costs, we might think of only money, but the cost is what it actually takes to enact something. What is its price? I'll give you a good example. In our body, to keep our body running, the cost of keeping our body running is calories, right? Nutrients, vitamins, the food that we ingest. And then, of course, to stay hydrated, to drink water. That's the cost of keeping our body functioning. To keep our body healthy, another cost is to exercise, to actually move, right? Okay, so that's cost. So if we're talking about what does it take to enact your solution, what will it take to make it happen? Think of it like that. Now, for this, let me give you an example. Let's say you're focused somehow on maybe the issue is that you're looking at the American education system, and perhaps because that's something you really care about, let's say, and you feel that there's like far too many students crowded into one classroom, and you're concerned with the fact that maybe art programs are being cut, or essentially it's becoming a subpar education. So in the United States, so you might look at somewhere else in the world. Look, where is there a good solution being instituted, and what can we bring from there, another place in the world, let's say, to here? So think of it like that. If you have an issue, is there somewhere in the world that they're doing something to help with that, and how can we bring that here, for example? So that's important too, that you focus upon the actual region that you're going to be looking at primarily, right? Another one I've gotten is school lunches, right? In public schools, like American public school lunches, how a lot of them tend to be unhealthy. I always thought the same thing. I actually learned in anthropology that our brain is the organ that consumes the most energy. So if we're in school studying, we're learning, we're flexing that gray matter, and we're not fueling our bodies with the appropriate nutrient laden meals, then it's a lot like asking a car to run the track without the proper fuel. So I once had a student, I was saying, okay, let's implement what they're doing in Japan. Let's bring some of that Japanese style of food that is being served in their schools. Let's bring it here. So ultimately, this all comes down to choosing something that you care about. We were here, right? Do your solutions pros outweigh any cons that it may involve? So think about the viability of it, right? If it's a solution that will bring more benefits than harms, then that's absolutely viable. If it's a solution that the costs are within reach, like let's say your solution is something that requires a rare mineral or a rare ore that is only found in one place on Earth, then that's not very viable. That sounds a lot more like a pipe dream, right? Because the actual capital to make it, the resources to make it, are not available, right? Are not as readily available. how would your proposed solution make the world a better place? So how would it actually help, right? So like I said, you have to choose something that you care about. And that's actually what the outline for this week is going to help us do. Let me actually finish looking at this prompt. So, excuse me, everything has to be an MLA, which is what we've been learning, right? 1-inch margins all around, Times New Roman or Arial, 12-point font, double space, works cited page for any sources that you would use, right? It's a minimum of at least 4 full pages. Pay attention to that, guys. At least 4 full pages. You're required to draw from a minimum of 4 credible outside sources. Pay attention to the librarian's workshop that we're going to have this week regarding credibility and the importance of assessing the credibility of sources, right? So I ask that you at least find 2 of these by using our school's library database. So you need at least 4 credible sources, okay? And it's easy to remember, right? At least 4 pages, at least 4 sources. 4 is the magic number here. The points, as you'll notice, these one's worth a little bit more. This one's 125. The peer review workshop, which we're going to have, that's 20. Correct MLA, that's 5, for a total of 150, right? Here's the important dates. This week, we're having the video where you're going to look at our librarian's workshop that she created for this assignment. The outline deadline will be at the end of this module next Sunday, the 25th. We're going to have the workshop. We're going to have it next module. So you're going to be responsible for posting it by the 28th, the rough draft. And the final draft will be due on our final meeting, which will be May 12th by 11:59 p.m. Here's the grading criteria. Does the essay have a clear purpose and direction, including a thesis statement with a clear and arguable solution? So obviously, you need to make it clear just what the issue is that you're looking at and what it is that you're proposing, right? Does the essay include a description of the problem being considered? Does the essay argue a clear solution using research and evidence, paying attention to audience? Remember in our intertextuality lesson how we were talking about that you're the lawyer and you're integrating these sources, you're using them just as a lawyer uses a witness or uses an exhibit, right? But above all, their voice is the most prominent. They're the ones weaving the argument, okay? So it's going to be the same thing as you're integrating your sources, whether that is you're bringing in some statistics or you're bringing in some expert voices concerning your topic, so on and so forth. Does it follow standard mechanics? This includes MLA, formatting and citation, works cited page, proper punctuation, grammar, appropriate word choice. Is it a minimum at least 4 pages with at least 4 sources? That's our grading criteria, okay? So let me actually show you what comes next. In this very same page, we have this document, research paper, things to consider. So you might be thinking, okay, can you kind of synthesize a little bit what sort of things I actually would be looking for in sources? No problem. That's what this document is. So number 1, you'll notice, is the issue. So context, some background. What actually led to the development of this issue? Because issues don't just arise just like that. Like there's always a context, there's always a background informing it. There's always something that led to it, right? And that's where your investigation comes. Your detectives, take out your magnifying glasses and explore and see what you can find. Your research detectives, have fun with it. This is a neat assignment because you're actually choosing an issue that you care about, and it's an opportunity for you to be investigation detectives and further look into an issue and what can be done about it. And of course it's fun because you're choosing something that you care about. Okay, next one. Why is this a significant issue? If it's left unchecked, what possible negative outcomes might be brought on in the future? This is important because it's helping to reaffirm just why it's a significant issue and why people should care, right? This is what's called ramifications. If the issue is left unchecked, then here's what a potential tomorrow could look like. So solution. What, and here's what the research you're thinking about this. Why will your solution work? What you're proposing, and remember, what you're proposing should directly counter something that is detrimental or harmful within your issue. Like, how can this solution help? And here's something else I want to point out. When I'm saying solution, I'm not asking you to reinvent the wheel. I'm not asking you to fully solve it. If you can propose something that will help towards the issue, then that's a solution. Something that'll help. What can you propose? And like I said, it helps to look at places around the world where something is working. They're doing something correctly. And how can we implement that, say, for example, here? And the more you can narrow the actual region of focus, then the more viable your job becomes. Like, since we live here, maybe we can choose SoCal, or you can choose your county, wherever you live. Why will your solution work? Why is it better than others? What might those opposing say against it? What would it take to enact it? There's the cost, right? Why is it viable? So, here are some student sample essays that you can check out to get some ideas of potential iterations of this assignment. I've had everything from issues of cyberbullying to global warming to fast fashion to animal testing by like makeup products to plastics getting in the ocean and really harming the marine life, to smartphone addiction, to maybe obesity and diabetes, to all sorts of things. So you just have to choose something that you care about. That's the main thing. All right, let's look at the next page here for this module. Here is the librarian research workshop that I was telling you about. So this is the name of our librarian, Shelly Marcus. This is her email. Click this link here for the video itself. This is a handout that Shelly offered me that has a list of the databases that she talks about in this workshop. Now, because I also work at Citrus College, the librarian there, Elizabeth Cook, was also kind enough to create a workshop video for how to use the databases as well. There's enough overlap in that this will be helpful. So I also included this video here for your aid. So check out our librarian's research workshop. And based on that is our discussion board. And be taking notes. That's always helpful. Here's our discussion board. What did you learn from this week's library research workshop? How will you apply that information to the work that you'll do on your research paper? Anything else you'd like to add? Remember to also reply to at least one classmate's post. Okay, next is the outline, which, if you'll notice, is actually due by next Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So check out, by the way, you'll notice that I've included the same outline worksheet in both docx and .pdf, just for your convenience. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. It always helps to download, as usual. There we go. So let's take a look at this together. So remember, your task is issue and solution. How to proceed. Okay. This could be on a sheet of paper, it could be on a whiteboard, it could be on the back of this outline. On a separate sheet of paper, jot down ideas of well, actually, before coming up with your topic, I would even say that you should write down things that you care about, just like off the cuff. You can be like, just off the cuff, doping in sports, homelessness, drug addiction, veterans having difficulty transitioning into civilian life. You can be like pollution. You can be like neighborhood safety. Just off the cuff, just be writing things. Take a look at your list and then decide what you really care about, what you want to go with. So once you do that, then once you've identified what the issue is, then jot down the things that you do know about it, and use the form below to outline your rough draft to isolate what's important to your essay, right? So remember in our thesis lesson, we talked about the fact that a thesis is the introduction of the topic, what you're saying about the topic, and then the main reasons or examples that support what you're saying about it, right? And in this case, we might even add, so what? Why does it matter? So this is what's going to go here is your thesis, and it has to be about issue and solution. So make it clear what the issue is and what it is that you're proposing, right? So what's the issue and what are you proposing? You say, here's the issue and here's what we should do about it. Direction is here's why it will work. And this is here's why it's important. So integrate that in here. Now, you can type out your answers, or you can print this out and write it out in pen and simply scan it to turn it in. However you proceed, it's all good. Okay, yeah, this is cool because it's like, how will you bring your reader into the essay? How will you hook them in? How will you introduce the topic of your essay? What details would benefit your intro? So here's kind of like one of those working backwards types of thing. Like it's helping you to get ready for your investigation. Like, what details would benefit your intro? So who is this, issue about? What, when, where, how? Consider those questions. Why? The best way is to use this is to investigate and incorporate sources. So you have to start doing some detective work of sorts. All of the sources that you use, make sure to save the link or name of them, as you're going to be able to look at them later on. And also, you're going to integrate that into the actual Works Cited page, right? So because this is a research paper, yes, you do have to compulsorily bring in outside sources, right? The body paragraphs. So that was for the intro, body paragraphs. Remember, a body paragraph literally fleshes out. It adds corpulence. It adds mass to the skeleton or main points that you established in your intro. So check this out. Just as the thesis is the heart, it's the main project of the whole essay, then the topic sentence is the heart, it's the main project of any given paragraph, of any given body paragraph. It's the same. It's very much analogous, right? It's the same thing. All right, so what would you bring into play here to support the topic of your first body paragraph of the topic sentence? So the topic sentences, remember this. This is up to you, like how you're going to organize the exploration of your issue and solution here. It's up to you. So whether you will be kind of like, okay, here's one element of the issue, and then maybe like within it you can kind of talk about how your solution would directly help with that detrimental element of the issue, right? However you want to organize it. That's what we're doing here. And honestly, this takes a bit of just diving in there and just jotting down your ideas. And let me tell you something. I'm really not looking for perfection. I'm really not looking for, you to come out with like the most perfect outline. No. I just want you to get out your ideas. I want you to see for yourself kind of what you have milling about in your head, and what you can start looking for, and I want you to start thinking about this paper as it's our last one. Okay. Here's the conclusion one. Remember, it's the reader's final takeaway. So after reading this, you know what would you want them to take away, right? So here's a little model. Reaffirm what was the gist of your thesis. What was the whole project of your paper? The implications, why it matters. What do you want to leave your reader with? Observations and conclusions you have. How have you proven your thesis? Is there anything else that needs to be said? A lot of times, issues are kind of so complex that they're still under development. There are still solutions being researched. There's kind of like a more investigation is forthcoming type of thing. What should the reader do in response to reading your paper? So now that you've left them, what do you want them to do, right? So this is the outline. Type it out or print it and write it out. However you choose to do it, it's going to be due by the end of this module, which will be by Sunday, 11/25. By Sunday, March, I'm getting my months mixed up, April 25, 11:59 p.m. If you want to meet with me, if you want to schedule a Zoom meeting, please let me know. You also have the Writing Center, right? You can chat with the writing tutors and schedule a meeting with them. So that is that. What is next? Oh, that's actually it for this week's module. So we have the current event and, oh, I disappeared. We have the current event and we have the outline for this paper and the Librarians Resource Workshop. So that's the main objective for this week. I want you to start to think about the research paper. I want you to start thinking about what potential issues you care about. I want you to start thinking about this. Put your foot forward. Have fun with it. Remember, there's no such thing as a perfect outline or a perfect first draft. Writing is recursive. It's all a process. It's ongoing. Just get started. Do your best. I'm here to help. Please let me know if you want to set up a Zoom meeting. Other than that, guys, I wish you an awesome week and see you next time.